Every first Friday of the month, we have a Shabbat dinner, and we try to make it as special as possible. And it couldn't be any more special than this. I'm going to get right into the program. The way we're going to have this, the way this is going to work is that I will, Dr. Mandel and I will have a bit of a conversation. We're going to go through several points, several issues, and then we'll save questions for the end if anyone has them. So there we have it. So may I introduce you? Thank you. So Dr. Eric Mandel is the founder and director of MEPIN, the Middle East Political and Information Network. MEPIN is a private Middle East research analysis read by members of Congress, their foreign policy advisors, members of Knesset, journalists, and organizational leaders. Dr. Mandel regularly, and I know this myself because every time I called him this week, he was on a conference with somebody from Congress. But he regularly briefs members of Congress, their staffs about current geopolitical situation in the Middle East. He meets with members of Israeli leadership and their advisors, including the Prime Minister. He has been to Israel 5 times since October 7th. 5 times. He's been north, south, West Bank. He's been with politicians. He's been embedded with army units. And since then also he's spoken at 12 universities, which is really important. The information that he gives is important not for us, but to give especially to the younger generation. Much of what Dr. Mandel is going to tell us tonight has been shared with the highest levels of both our government and the Israeli government, so we're privileged to have him here with us. Without further ado, Dr. Eric Mandel.
So first of all, coming here, I want to first thank David and Karen Schatz, my dear friends that come here, and I look forward to coming here every year. And Rabbi, I love being here with you as always, and I miss your brother tonight. It would be nice to see him, and a belated happy anniversary. So that's wonderful. David, belated happy birthday to you. Yesterday. That was you. And his grandson's birthday is tomorrow. Right, Dave? So, thanks. So, it's a pleasure to be here.
What I want to know, first off, is where have you been recently? Where have you been recently? Not to start off, and then we'll go from there.
So, I just came back 5 days ago from Israel. I was in the north, at Northern Command. I was in, with some elite units. I was in Knesset, meeting with think tanks, leaders throughout Israel, and really getting a feel of the Israeli people. Each time I go, this is unprecedented. Israel is built for short wars and not to have war on its territory. This has broken all of Ben-Gurion's tactic, strategy of what really needs to be quick, fast wars, not to be having buffer zones on your side of the border. And so Israel's an uncharted territory. On October 6th, Israel had one existential threat, the Iranian nuclear program. On October 7th, Israel had multiple existential threats.
So you were in Gaza, South Gaza this last time?
This last time I was not in South Gaza. I was back each time I go. In the last 6 weeks, I've been Gaza, the Mediterranean crossing, for 896. I've been with the humanitarian units. I was very happy that humanitarian aid. The last, I've been 5 times embedded in the north with troops, including last in Rosh Hanikra, Kibbutz Rosh Hanikra, in anti-tank missile fire. They use anti-tank missiles against civilians. And I've been in the West Bank with 2 different battalions, one up in the sea line with Tulkram and Kalkilia, and also with Jenin and Nablus.
So let's start in Gaza and talk about that a little bit. Everybody knows that on October 7th, we were viciously attacked. Israel was viciously attacked. And Israel then had to go in and get into a war and get rid of the threat, the existential threat that was there. They started up north, but now things have shifted down to the southern part. They've been sort of there for the last, few months. And in Rafah and along the Philadelphia line, the crossing there. So can you tell us a little bit about that situation as it stands now?
So just a little perspective. I happen to have been in Israel on October 7th. I happen to have been in the Negev, in a little sleepy town called Yerucham, with my friend's family, and the sirens went off at 6:30 in the morning, and we didn't know really what was going on. It was sort of echoes of 1973. We start seeing people in the Tlasim running out to a Shabbat and Simchat Torah, coming out and getting into cars. And I called my fellow journalist Seth Franzman in Jerusalem, who writes for the Jerusalem Post. I said, Seth, something's going on. We really didn't know. And I said, let's go. And we went to what turned out to be the massacre. Seth couldn't get in from Jerusalem. I drove right into the massacre in State Road. So I firsthand, with my own eyes, saw what was going on. So when you read people who make claims that it didn't happen, against all factual evidence, sort of, the level of Holocaust denial. So let's fast forward to where we are now in Gaza. Hamas, what is Hamas? Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is charted, read anything about them. They are about killing Jews. They are Sunni Arabs. They want to destroy all of Israel. This is not about two states or two peoples or anything. Anybody who believes any of that is, at best, naive or ignorant, and worse, complicit in really what they're doing, which I think is part of what the pro-Hamas demonstrators on college campuses have been doing. So Israel started in the north of Gaza and worked its way down. I'm an American. I speak for American national security interests. My government basically put pressure on Israel to slow down, starting late last fall, and not to do things as quickly as maybe could have been done. Israel also terribly underestimated its adversary. Israel did not believe Hamas could do this. Israel had Hamas's plans in May 2022 to the 60 crossings. Israel thought they could only breach 2, so they semantically changed it from an invasion potential to a raid, and it was treated that way. Israel thought the only place something like this could happen was in the north with the Radwan forces of Hezbollah. So, I'm sorry. So, I just wanted to give a little background of what Hamas is and what's going on. So Israel went town by town, refugee camp, and it first of all incredibly underestimated the tunnel network. Israel thought there was maybe 100, 150 kilometers. Turns out there's over 700 kilometers. You're talking hundreds and hundreds of miles. And these tunnels they're brilliantly spaced, multi-layered, connected from one another through shafts with turns, just in case anybody breaches them, that they'd be able to attack. So you lose any type of strategic advantage. At this point of time, I'm not trying to be negative, I just want to give you the facts as best as we know them. At this point of time, I don't believe anybody believes that Israel has destroyed more than 50% of the tunnels networks that are there.
So is this a failure of their intelligence network to figure out exactly what's going on? Did they ignore information? And then I want to ask if Egypt has some culpability here also, because it seems to me that you've got a direct border there, and it seems that we're hearing that a lot of the stuff came through there. So
this is an ultimate failure of underestimating your adversary. You had the intelligence you didn't believe the intelligence, and the captain of the ship or the captain of the ships, have to pay the price eventually. It's like a physician, the anesthesiologist could kill the patient, but the surgeon is still the one who's the captain of the ship and is held responsible. So eventually this will come to Prime Minister Netanyahu. There's no way other than it could be, including people in the leadership of the IDF, in Mossad, Shin Bet, all the agencies that are there.